might sound even sillier when I tell you that there is just one tool that I am willing to use in pursuit of this goal: persuasion. You see, a lot of times when people are interested in bringing about some kind of large-scale change, they have been trained to think they're using a tool to accomplish that change, but they're actually using a weapon. And as you'll see, I'm not into using weapons on innocent people to get my way. If this is unclear, I promise that within the next few episodes, it will make perfect sense. A bulk of the 10 years that I spent in education were as a classroom teacher. I taught history, among other things, at two small private schools in Vermont. At about the same time, I also attended graduate school in Massachusetts, pursuing a master's degree in educational leadership, along with a certification, a little piece of paper you need to go into public school and be considered a teacher. In the first semester of the school year, in I think 2004, I started to stumble across some uncomfortable information about the history of the public education system. Well, I think I was actually doing a research project related to grad school. The work of people like John Holt, Jonathan Taylor Gatto, and Jonathan Kozol was too powerful to ignore. And this is all stuff that we'll talk about as the show goes on. But I found myself questioning what I was doing and asking the more important question, could I even continue? And I found out eventually that I could not. I withdrew. I left both programs. I actually left the graduate program right in the middle of a class during a break. And just to be completely honest, this was a very difficult time in my life. I mean, everything that I was doing personally, professionally, I was putting a lot of money into going to school. Everything was around working towards this goal of becoming a public school history teacher. And then, because I was also interested in making a little bit of money in my life, I wanted to get this master's degree in administration so I could go on to be a principal. They make like six figures. Because, you know, like sitting behind a desk all day and intimidating kids while making sure that all of the school's arbitrary paperwork is filled out correctly is someone who does that totally deserves the same salary as like a software developer or a mechanical engineer. So anyway, after a lot of thought and frankly, some difficult times personally, I walked away from that. I could not go through with it. And I convinced myself at, I think I was 25 at the time, 24, 25, that I could find ways to work in education that were geared more towards alternatives or solutions to the problem of public education, that was a much better thing to do with my life than to participate in the problem. So for the last 3 years, I've worked pretty much as a private tutor and educational consultant. And in this time, I've done a bunch of different things. I've worked on kids in a bunch of different areas with a bunch of different goals. But one of the most important things that I feel like I've been involved in is helping kids with problems of motivation. Really to help students find value in their education for themselves. Right? This is not motivation about, let's get a B in chemistry. This is about getting something personal out of education, even if it has to go on in this stupid shithole called public school. Right? So public education is all about extrinsic motivation. You know, it starts with, oh, you did good, here's a cookie. Oh, nice work, here's a sticker. Very well done, check plus. Oh, you get an A on your report card. Here's a piece of paper that said you could sit still and follow directions for 12 years. It's your ticket to another institution where you'll sit and follow directions for 4 more years. There's nothing learner-driven. There's nothing intrinsic about any of that. So one of the things that I always wanted to do was to help students find some intrinsic motivation. I can't find it for them, but to help them find it. Like I said, to get some value in what they're doing for themselves. And Before I go any further, I just want to be clear about one other thing. I am technically not like a whistleblower. As an educator, I've been very lucky. I have managed to completely avoid teaching in public school. But, I was trained to teach with public school teachers. I've done student teaching in public high schools. And certainly private schools are not much better. Private schools have a lot of state control and regulation as well. And in the last 3 years working as a private tutor, I've been in and out of public schools for meetings, I've talked to teachers, and I have a pretty good sense of what's going on there. So even though I'm not coming to you directly from inside the public school system as, like I said, a whistleblower, I feel very comfortable in what I know about public education. Like I said, I almost wound up there, right? But I had to change course when I really became aware of what I was getting into. I told myself at the time that I could find other ways to teach, other ways to have that positive impact on the lives of other people. And I sincerely hope that this show will be one of them. And if I can leave you with just one thought today in this introductory episode, it would be this. 5 or 6 years ago, when I came to these realizations that forced me to make this pretty important at the time life decision about my career path, that forced me to depart from what was at the time a very, very comfortable and well thought out plan. All of those things that helped me make that decision, or that were powerful enough to get me out of what I was doing. As I moved forward in a different direction, I realized that all of that stuff that was so powerful barely scratched the surface of the true immorality and destructiveness of government education. Now, digging down and identifying what school does to people is very important. But above all, this is a show about the pursuit of solutions to that problem. Thanks for listening, and take care. I'm a troublemaker, never been a faker, doing things my own way, never giving up. I'm a troublemaker.